I am Marquel Connor. I was born in 1983 in Charleston, Mississippi. And matter of fact, I was one of the last babies to be born there because they stopped births in 1983. And so I have two siblings, uh, Larita Connor and Zachary Connor. Uh, my mother's name was Bonnie Connor. She moved here to New Albany, of course, with me. She got married, and so that's what brought us here. Um, I think I was maybe 3 years old, and we started out here in New Albany at Union Apartments. Then we later bought a house over on Clark Street, and that's where we grew up the majority of my life. And then within the late '90s, uh, we moved again, and that's kind of where we settled over in the Knots Landing community. Growing up was fun for me and my siblings as well. We played outside a lot. We enjoyed going to school. We had great friends, and it was just always something to do, even if we had to just come up with it on our own. I got to junior high, and that's where things kind of changed for me because I had friends who were involved in athletics, and I didn't want to be the only one walking the halls of the school doing nothing. And I got friends that's participating in all school activities, and so I wound up going out for football my seventh grade year, and I just stuck with it. I'll be honest, I didn't know much about it, but again, I didn't want to be the only person not doing anything, and I loved being active as well, and so just grew a bond and made a brotherhood with a lot of my classmates by way of sports. Built relationships with my coaches, and that's something that continued to push me along each passing year. uh, I got better as an athlete, football player, so to speak. Yes, I could play basketball, but for some reason I was scared to play in school. And like I tell people when they ask me why, football is different. You got 22 people on the field. Everybody got a helmet or something on, jersey. Nobody can really see who you are. And in basketball, like everything is right there. You can see that person. You can see when all the mistakes are made. And I just think I wouldn't have responded well to pressure on the basketball court. Although a lot of people would tell you I can play, and I still can play. And that was a question that was often asked to me. Why didn't you play basketball throughout school? Because community nights, we would play basketball, and we were teenagers playing with adults, and things just translated from there. Learned a lot of lessons from that also. Whereas in this time, you don't see it that much. I don't know if kids shy away from competition between teenagers and adults or whatever, but that's what made us. And so, uh, got to high school. Uh, I grew a really close connection to, at that time, Coach Rodney Spears, which is now Dr. Rodney Spears, Reverend Rodney Spears, or whatever you would like to call him. He was a great influence on me. And, it was one of those things where you get close to somebody and then career paths come about, different opportunities come about, and that bond was instantly broken. Not anything personal between us, but he took a job somewhere else, and so I'll be honest, I felt kind of lost because it's different when you are a person that really doesn't place a lot of trust in people, and you actually open yourself up to build a connection with someone. And he was a great mentor to me. And when he left, like I said, I just kind of felt on that island all alone, just feeling my way through. Uh, but had some great teammates, and others that we could rely on, and it just came a time where I had to open up and give another adult a chance to, make a positive impact on my life, and things changed for me. And uh, years, it's been years now, so I can say this: I was a really great football player, and a lot of times we run into people, and we have those reflective moments where we talk about certain games and how many touchdowns might have been scored that night, or how many yards may have been ran for that night. And it's amazing that people can remember that kind of stuff. And I had the chance, I'll be honest, I had the chance to go and play college football. I didn't take it, and so that's why those who do have the opportunity to do so, I heavily encourage them to take that chance, because I wake up every day, wondering what if, and that's one of the worst realities somebody can face. Wondering what you could have done and you didn't take advantage of it. And just like a lot of other young people nowadays, my goal was to go off and play professional sports, and I just didn't stick with it. Auburn was heavily recruiting me then, Ole Miss. And it was just one of those things where, you don't see a lot of other people, getting that opportunity. So what does it look like? What does it feel like? And, you know, I made the worst choice. I did absolutely nothing. Uh, but I went on to Northeast, and everything just, kind of took off from there, hit some bumps and bruises. And that kind of put me on the path that I'm on now, which is making sure I'm doing my part and helping to shape the lives of young people and those who have a chance to go extremely far. I kind of got away from my goals and dreams, which were to go and play pro, come back and build apartment complexes for middle class people, and I just didn't fulfill that goal, so I had to set another goal for myself. I've reached a lot of them. I've made a lot of accomplishments, and I think my biggest push is for other young people to see that if I can do it, then they can too.
What put you on the path you're on now?
So at Northeast, I'm guessing like a lot of other young students, quote unquote. I took I took probably about the first year and a half serious, and then I kind of slacked off. Uh, I came home and I decided that I wanted to live on my own, so to speak, with the whole, just I want to live by myself. I want to experience, that part of life by myself. But in reality, I should have stuck with school. And an opportunity came about for me to work at Boys and Girls Clubs, and it kind of just grew from there. I started noticing how even early on, as a 21, 22 year old, the positive impact that I was making on others. And I just kind of felt like during that time of my life, uh, I was not so much forced, but I was able to sit back and realize that a lot of young people didn't have nobody positive to look up to. And so I guess year in and year out, seeing the different results on the bright side is kind of what kept me going and pushed me in the direction to continue to work with young people. And the opportunity presented itself for me to apply to be the director. And so I'm 10 years in, and we've seen a lot of amazing things. We've done a lot of amazing things, and just getting involved in the community, exposing our students to newer things, positive things, different career paths, different things that you can do rather than, sitting around having idle time to get yourself into some trouble. And so, my experience at Northeast is kind of what prepared me for what I do every day now.
How did you get the opportunity to work at the Boys and Girls Club in the beginning?
Oh, well, I was a club member there my last 2 years of high school, and uh, I slacked up on going once I uh, started going to Northeast. And one day I just came back just to visit, and the director at the time, he was saying he needed one more male staff, and one of the ladies that worked there said, "What about Quail?" And so it just all went from there.
You just happened to be there, and they.
Yep, like I said, I was just visiting, just dropping in, speaking, and it just took off from there.
When you were a kid, going to the club, what was it that drew you there?
My friends, and going there, getting the opportunity to play basketball every day, because at that time it didn't matter if you were brother, sister, friend, best friend. We knew late evenings we were going at it, and so it, there were definitely sports center moments in there.
Yeah.
A lot of history in that building.
Was the club around or available to you when you were younger?
Oh, I think it came in 1996, so it definitely was around, but I don't think it captured my interest because I didn't have a lot of friends that were going there at that time. So it was more of, get out of football practice, go home. We find somebody basketball goal in the street, and we would play. We played all the time. We played every day. We played so much. People used to have to call the police and tell them, hey, they either need to move the goal somewhere else, or they just need to stop playing, get out of the road. Period. But that's the era I grew up in. We were always outside. We found something to do.
Who were the other kids in your neighborhood that were out there with you?
So let's see. And these are known basketball players in the area. Got the chance to go to state as well, and so I think about Rashad Strickland, Justin Dukes. Those are some of the main ones, and like I said, people hear the ball bouncing and they just come outside and play, and we have an intense evening.
It's not a quiet game.
At all. But there were plenty. Chris Foote, let's see, Ronald Cruz, and we weren't just in our neighborhood. We'll be somewhere everywhere. We'll be on the north side, in the streets playing ball, in the subdivision playing ball, in Knox Landing playing ball, in the park, Shadydale, playing ball, and Knox Landing, of course. That's the when we got older, that's the area we pretty much hung out at. And of course, I wound up moving over there too. So, like I said, we found a way to get outside and do something.
What do you think, like as far as developing, I don't know, maybe your, not necessarily your athletic ability, but just when, that's a different type of ball than playing on a team in a gym in front of a crowd. What do you think playing like that develops for a kid?
Um, for one, off top, it develops toughness because we're playing in the street, so you fall down, you gonna get skint up. That sort of thing. You might catch a couple elbows. Just that mental toughness that we develop. Weather conditions. It's sunny outside, so of course it's hot. I mean that's a given. And I just felt like being active was where it was for us. And the whole competitive part of it. And okay, you got me, so it's my turn to get you back. And it's just knowing that you had something to fight for, because you may have not been successful the first time, the second time, the third time, but just quote, like we say, going in each other's throat. So it literally drove the competition level, through the roof. You want to quit, but if you quit, you can get picked on, talked about, and you just didn't want to show that you never wanted to show you were the weak link, especially around us at that time. And so, like it was just so much that we used to do. We used to challenge each other. I remember this one thing in particular we used to do. All of us had bikes, of course, so we would see who could pull the hill sitting down, on their 10 speed, not realizing what it would do for us later on. Because, I think about a lot of runs that I, broke on the football field and was able to take it the whole way. But that came from working ourselves, having fun, not realizing that we're working. So, those sort of things, and it created explosion in the hips. Uh, I can't now, but you can ask others. I used to be able to dunk, and I'm not 6 feet tall. So, and it's that kind of thing that pushes me and some others that work with our young people, that hey, you just can't work when you're at practice. You have to play those pickup games. You have to play hustle. You have to play tip. You have to play, 3-on-3 or 4-on-4, because it engages you, and it also helps you prepare for that atmosphere. And I'll give you an example. I said I was scared to play in front of a crowd. When we used to play and go at each other, it was just us out there, and so we didn't have nobody watching. You know, we'll show up at school the next day talking about what we did to somebody, and only the ones that knew what actually happened were the ones who was out there playing. So that sort of thing, and I just didn't give myself a chance to adjust, to that. Like I said, I should have played, but I did. But sports definitely played a vital role within my success in my adulthood, because it present those challenges, and you got to find a way to get past that. And so I kind of tie, life lessons in with sports. I got an example for everything.
Well, you do, and you not wanting to play in front of a crowd, but the things that you do now, you're in front of a crowd every single day of very judgmental people.
Yeah.
And not maybe some of the people who played on that team wouldn't be able to do what you do every day. So
That
you got a tougher crowd now. You got a bunch of middle school kids waiting for you to stumble, trip, not have your shirt buttoned wrong. They'll call you out.
that's correct. And so, that's just one of those things where uh, you realize, hey, that comes with it. Every working day is not going to be a perfect day, and so you do take those. I'm not going to say negative experiences, but you take those mishaps and you build off of it. And another thing that has helped me, because I do, I'm not going to say battle with the many people that have opinions on uh, what myself and my work team does daily. But it keeps me sharp. It equips me with, the different ideas and different pieces of notes I may have to take. so I can share it with my work team, and they learn how to maneuver through that as well. And it's funny that I'm on this topic because I had said that I was gonna start doing stanzas of uh, or different varieties of things where, or for people who have opinionated occupation. I have an opinionated occupation, and so it's like everybody has the answer after the fact. They don't get to experience the part where you have to prep beforehand. And so, if I could just sit back, or not just me, but all of us, if we could just sit back and give our opinion of what would have worked after the fact, we'll all be rich. So, where are the people who want to get in the trenches beforehand? And so, that
Act in the moment.
bingo. And so that's why, we, by way of collective effort, uh, we put things together for our youth, and we just go out there and make it happen. Yeah, I have a lot of ideas. Yeah, I do a lot of different things, but it's not all me. Again, I'm not by myself. It's a collective effort. I have a great work team. I put them up against anybody else in the state, in the region, just wherever. And no, it's not a competition when you're, molding and shaping the lives of young people. But that's just how much confidence I have in my work team. Because honestly, a lot of times people think, oh, well, all they do at the Boys and Girls Club is just play. But nah, we do a lot more. We run programs, uh, just to name a few, like goals for growth, goals for graduation, smart moves. We run abstinence programs, that sort of thing. And so we do spelling bees, we do math competitions, you name it, we do it. But as with anything, people will always have their perception of what they think. It's easy for me to pull up at a gym, and my first thought is going to be, oh, they in there playing basketball. And then you come in at 4 o'clock and you can hear a pin drop because everybody is with their group, and we're either running programs or working on homework. So that sort of thing. Once again, opinionated occupation. And so, you come in, you ask questions, you find ways to get involved, and you really learn what the program is all about. But no matter what's said on the outside, it's about the people that's on the inside. So
When you were, you said you were probably 20, 21, and you stopped back by the club, and somebody said, "What about Quail?" Has that happened to you with a former kid coming back, and you say, "Hey, we could use you here"?
It's funny that you say that because it has. I have two on my work team right now that were club members while I operated as a regular staff personnel, and those guys are amazing at what they do. Tyrese Earl and Artavius Nugent, and so yeah, and it's refreshing because in a sense, going to the club often and then graduating high school, going to college, getting those experiences, and then being able to come back and pour into the people that's currently attending now, it doesn't get any better than that because, something I often say is you have people who learn by listening, you have people who learn by way of experience. And so, the only thing with learning by experience, depending on the situation, everybody doesn't get a second chance. And so, why not just listen? Uh, I was kind of that guy. I learned by way of listening because I didn't want to place myself in a predicament where, I was one and done. I'd made that one mistake and it took everything away from me. Or it placed me in a predicament where I may have been 23, 24 years old with my whole life ahead of me But here I am, I'm only getting to start my life at 40, 45, 50 years old because maybe I was with the wrong crowd, or maybe I had something I shouldn't have had, or did something I shouldn't have done. And so it's those things that push us and motivate us every day to make sure we're doing our part.
You talked about Rodney Spears and the influence he had on you. So, I mean, obviously, you're the Rodney Spears for a lot of kids now. Um, how does that feel?
It feels good. In the beginning, I'll be honest, it was kind of shaky for me because I didn't know, what I wanted to do. I didn't know what I wanted to do in life. I'll be honest, and I just had this conversation with somebody the other day. Reality didn't hit me until I seen my graduation cap coming out of the sky, and it was like everything became, everything was just at a standstill because I was like, man, that this is literally my last day of high school. I just graduated. I just walked the stage. What's next? And of course, it's a common thing for New Albany students to graduate and go to Northeast. And I it's like I started trying to be serious once I got to Northeast, but I was some steps behind because I felt like I should have already known what I wanted to do to make a living. I should have been, done my research on whatever the occupation I chose. And so, again, like you said, I'm writing experience for a lot of others. And, my work team can tell you, I tell the kids this all the time. Right now is where you have to start. Well, I feel like when you hit that 12, 13-year-old age, you got to know, especially in today's world, you got to know what it is you want to do, what you want to be. You got to research it. You got to see how much money it pays, and because I feel like only you know how far you want to go in life. Whether you want a mansion or if you just want a regular home, whether you want a outstanding car or just a regular vehicle. And so you have to research those things and stick with your goals, and just keep chipping away at it. Everybody who may have chose to do it like I did it and just made your way through, create your own lane, stay on your own path. Everybody probably don't have the determination to, stick with it. And so uh, that's why we heavily encourage our members now to, go. Let's go ahead and find us an occupation.
What about the influence of your family on your life?
Uh, family influence. Uh, like a lot of others probably would say, their mothers. I'm gonna say my mother, simply because she was everything to me, and I always knew the effect that she had on me, and it was to the point to where no matter what happened, no matter how my day went, uh, I always had that thing where I never wanted to let her down, ever. Anything she asked of me, I did it, no hesitation, no problem, because I don't like to pile regrets on top of regrets. So uh, my mother was my driving force, hands down, and I can easily say that she was the perfect example uh, for me. And you know, my mama raised me right. I did wrong on my own
She didn't baby you.
at all. Uh, she was one that talked to me about different things, and just seeing her, how she maneuvered through every day. She got up, she went to work, she took care of us, she never complained about it. When she didn't have it, she found a way to make it happen. And I know I took that from her. I know I did, and she, you name it, that's what she was for me and to me. And I she's passed away, but I love that woman like crazy. And that's just a love that uh that's one of those things where you know you'll never experience that type of love again. So the fact that I cherished it while I had it, that meant a whole lot to me. Because again, I don't have to say, oh well, I wish I could have done this for her. I wish I could have done that, or I should have done this. But nah, my mama was, she was my everything, and I made sure she knew it.
And you're a dad.
I am.
And do you feel like you are that same kind of parent?
I am. I just think the difference in my parenting and the parenting that I had growing up is uh, I relish heavy on those teachable moments. So if I'm reading about something, or if something happens and it may involve an associate of theirs, that's my opportunity to say, okay, so for these type of reasons is why I may say no, or these type of reasons are why I'm always constantly educating you on what's out there waiting on you. And I can tell, while I'm talking, they like, oh my goodness, here we go again. But like I said, when them teachable moments come to play, they I can also tell that they appreciate that knowledge I'm giving them, and they understand why. Because like I tell mine all the time, it would be the worst case scenario for me to have been, spoke against this, spoke against that, don't do this, don't do that, and then you go out here and do it, and you're in major trouble. And so I always tell my kids, I don't want that for you. And so that's uh, one of my parental aspects that I rely on heavy, because again, learning by way of listening or learning by way of experience, it's your choice.
How old
So
are your kids?
uh and I'm having to think about this. 15 and 14. Yep, 15 and 14. I have a ninth grader and an eighth grader.
That's a lot.
It is.
That's a busy age.
In today's world especially.
And
So,
are your kids at the club with you every day?
they don't come every day. My son, he comes often, but my daughter, she drops in every blue moon. Uh, but yeah, growing up, especially, they were there every day. Yeah, every day. But I guess it's kind of that mark where friends go separate ways. You get older, and you kind of just want to, do your own thing. And I'm not against that, because uh, I feel like children on a low level should be able to make some decisions for themselves and kind of learn how to maneuver through life on their own on a small scale, because that day is going to come where they're going to have to make heavy decisions. And so, getting that experience early helps with later. And so that's another form of my, parenting, rather than just trying to be stern. Oh, you're gonna do everything that I say do. You're gonna do everything my way. We're two totally different people, growing up in two total different worlds. Because my way of growing up in the '90s and early 2000s are totally different. You know, past your 2010s on up to current. So uh, that sort of thing.
You're very involved in our community here. You're definitely a leader in our community. Um, and I know you have held like positions of leadership and different like civic clubs and things like that. Um, I always when I see people, to me you're a young person. How old are you?
41.
You're 41. I think that
I'm a young person.
You're a young person. But when I see like your generation in these roles of leadership, um, I always think, well, I wonder when they were in high school, if you ever thought you were going to be the president of, what are you
Well, I have served as president of Kiwanis Club.
yeah, like did you ever think that you would be doing the things that you
Anything I'm doing
do?
today, I did not think that I would be doing, and that's the God honest truth. Like I said, I had no clue what I wanted to do, what I would be doing. I just didn't know. My plan was to go to school for physical therapy and work at the Med in Memphis. That was my plan. But did I act on it? No, I did not. And you learn after graduation, life comes full circle quick. Like each passing day, it feels like it's quicker and quicker. But in high school, in college, the things I'm doing today were nowhere near on my radar. And a lot of people ask, how did I get so good at what I'm doing? Um, I really don't think about if what I'm doing is good or if it's a great thing. I guess because I look at it as a need. These are needs. Children need to see examples of what they could possibly be. Children need people pushing them in the right direction. Children need people within their lives that's going to tell them, nah, chill out, man. Don't do that. Or, hey, so and so is going on over here. Bring your notepad and pen and come over here with me. People need those. Children need those kind of people, within their lives, and not to mention other youth development services, youth development programs. Like that's a need, and so again, we take so much pride in what we do because what if we change the mind and heart of one person who could go out into this world and change the entire world? And it may have been an example that they learn from me, somebody on my work team, a person like you, or just that sort of thing. Because believe it or not, another thing that pushed me in the efforts of which I disperse every day are my former teachers, and so teachers need to see they need to see the return on their investment, and so the handful of teachers that believed in me, I make sure I let them know, hey, because of you, I'm able to, go and reach one, teach one, and spill what I know on to others, and they can go and continue to do the same thing.
Well, you're a great teacher. I've watched you in action at the club. I see you. You don't miss a moment to teach a lesson. You don't.
Nah.
Which probably, I was thinking about you as a parent, probably drives your kids crazy because I'm sure you're just full of life lessons
Yeah,
all day long.
and it's I had a club member a couple of years ago because before General Assembly, well during General Assembly, I do try to give a motivational message to the kids, or I may come across some things and I'd be like, well, you know what, my kids need to know about this. And that be my moment to interact with all students that show up for that day. And yeah, I might get to talking and I might talk a few minutes, but they need to hear that. And it also lets me know that they're listening because, like I said, a couple of years ago, I had a student come and ask me, Mr. Quill, I know your kids get tired of hearing what you be saying. You be talking about some good stuff, but I can only imagine how they get it, being that they're at home, with you. But in the end, the student said, hey, she appreciate hearing those things daily. And so that's something I try to make sure I stay up on because I might say that one thing that may change that child's mind from what they probably got planned to go and do before they go home.
You may be
Especially
the
if
only
it's on the
person
negative
telling them
side.
that kind of stuff too.
Right.
A lot of kids aren't hearing that.
That's very true. That's very true. And so that's why, anytime I had the opportunity to sharpen my leadership skills or be a part of something that's going to be beneficial to, our community, our town, our center, my work group, I make sure, I take part in it. Uh, I'm active in Kiwanis. Uh, my most recent uh, task I took on, I'm now a part of the commission for Create, and I love that so much because it gives me the opportunity to network with other people in our region. When we have our quarterly meetings, and I'm able to take ideas, from them and listen to the different stories of what they have going on within their communities, and I'm able to bring it back here to New Albany, and so uh, I'm excited. I have one project I'm working on now, and I'm not gonna talk about it until it's completed. But we have the wheels rolling on it, and this is my second big project for our town. The first thing I was part of, I was president during the time when uh, Kiwanis wrote the big check to go ahead and complete the playground over here on the north side. And I don't talk about that much, but that feeling I got behind knowing that I was a part of something that was able to help other kids that I may not even know or never will see, that makes me feel good. And so, it's just that feeling of gratitude after, knowing something was done for your town and it was a need. And so, a lot of people think that you can just present something to somebody and they just go and do it. They don't understand it's a process.
Yeah.
It doesn't happen overnight. But if people came to more meetings, if people, asked questions and educated themselves on that matter, I feel like a lot more would be accomplished, around here. But it's not just as simple as, oh, well, we need a blah blah blah, and next month we have it.
Yeah.
Nah, it doesn't work that way. And let's see, I help out with our junior football program, travel Pee Wee League, football, New Albany Shockers, um, and just pretty much wherever without overexerting myself, just pretty much wherever I can help out, even if it's just giving insight on, hey, well, if you do it this way, you take XYZ off of you, and you're able to, make it easier on you, your kids, whoever, that sort of thing. I'm a personal order when it comes to dealing with young people.
Tell me the story of one kid who came through that you just feel really proud about.
That's easy. Dakota LaSure. Uh, when I first um got started in this, seeing her grow up through the 6 through 9 year old program, 10 through 12 year old group, and 13 through 18, you in any center, you have that one kid that just stand out without even trying to. And we're talking about a person who always on the honor roll, high number GPA, got involved in the community, took part in school functions, and took part in activities at her church, and just never a problem. Was never a problem, man. Uh, she was Youth of the Year, got to go and compete on the state level twice. Uh, and now she's at Jackson State, and like she's chipping away at her goals. She's even active in community in Jackson. And all of those things and values started right here in New Albany, Mississippi. So you want those kind of people to come through, do those kind of things, go somewhere else, get those experience, and you want them to bring their expertise home. And so that's why I feel it's important that we're doing our part as a city, and bringing those businesses, bringing those jobs here, where we can bring our great and successful students and minds right back where it all started. How special would that be if we could return a lot of our students, and they don't just have to be necessarily Boys and Girls Club members, but how much greater would our town be if we could bring back our former students and let them work here and let them you know build right here. Our school system, I absolutely love it, and I love the active participation that I have within the school system, and just being able to go to all three of them at any given moment, whether I'm going to just show up, to visit during lunch, and speak to kids, or going over to the elementary and reading to different classes, and dropping in at the high school here and there. Uh, it's refreshing to me because you don't know what kind of morning that child had, and then when they see you, it's like everything has gone out the door, and I'm able to connect with different teachers, so I'll even show up for other reasons too if I need to as well. So it's just that thing where, like, God, I just can't get away from Mr. Quayle, and so you got to be on your p's and q's,
So,
because
or their teacher might tell you,
right,
tell on them.
if the teacher call, I'm coming. If the teacher texts me, I'm on the way. So and things like that show uh how much you care and how involved you are. And it's even been to the points where some parents have called me, you know Mr. Quayle, you got one, you ain't gonna see the rest of the week because he's choosing to this, that, and the other. And so we get on the phone and we talk about it. And I don't know, I'm just gonna claim it as a gift to be able to just talk to young people and change their minds. I didn't have that for me, so I'm able to, well, to a certain extent, let me say it that way. So I'm able to make sure I can give that to someone else. Because once again, I'm so optimistic. I operate off of the fact that, hey, if these things can happen around the U.S. at other Boys and Girls Clubs, it can happen right here in a little bitty New Albany, Mississippi. And so a lot of people don't know the perks of Youth of the Year, but it started out on the organizational level, then it goes to state, then region, then national. You win overall, you get over $1 million in scholarships. You get the brand new Toyota Corolla. You get to sit courtside NBA games. You get to travel around and talk. Uh, give your speech, all expense paid, that sort of thing. And so, you know, that's a goal of mine to, for us to have somebody to come out of our center, New Albany, Mississippi, and go national with it versus someone who might come in and be like, oh, well, this New Albany population ain't over 30, 40, 50,000. Who's going to pay attention to here? I operate as if that's going to happen that way. So, and I feel like that's something that has brought a lot of success to our building, uh, our youth development center, because again, they didn't know it was going to happen there until it happened. In these major cities. So we have some great students, and our great students need to be known about, need to be heard about, and so that's why we put a lot of things that we do out there over social media. Yeah, there are a lot of ways. I know our annual campaign. That's something where funds are raised just for the New Albany unit, and that's one major way that people can take part in it. They can become a part of our annual campaign, and whatever donation they may want to leave, they could do so. Uh, and all that would be ran by our main office in Tupelo. Uh,
How much does it take to run the club?
I try to stay away from that, so
Yeah.
I can't give you an exact number because my thing is whether the funds are there or not, lives are going to have to be changed regardless. So that's one reason why I don't, try to put the pressures of, oh, well, we need to raise X amount of dollars, or we need, this or that done in order for us to keep functioning. But I know it's up there. I'll give you an example. I think Dance Like the Stars is our uh, greatest fundraising event. And, there have been times where $220,000 may have been raised, more than that. I think a couple of years back they set a record. So, that's just an example. And of course, other clubs do different fundraisers. I know we're going to get back to it here soon, with our fundraising, whether it be bake sales. We did the annual pancake breakfast up until COVID had hit, and it's just kind of been hard getting it back going. But that's something we'll definitely do again. And of course, like I said, we have a lot of community donors that pour into our New Albany unit, and so that helps our day to day operations. First and foremost, with that alumni game, uh, it could be a really big event annually, and not just from the perspective of coaches being able to see their former players that have gone through college, graduated, married now, families, and once again, coaches being able to see the return on their investment because in coaching, that takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of time away from your family. Just within your household period, because you are molding and shaping the lives of young athletes, and so those coaches being able to see their former players and the love that was shown and the hugs that were given and the questions of how you doing now and tell me what's going on in life and those coaches just being able to see what my time here was not in vain and so from that aspect great uh, former players being able to come together. Of course, in different years, you had people from 2002, 2008, 2012, 2015, up until honestly that current year that were on teams together. You had people who were sitting on both benches who had the opportunity to see what it felt like to go to state. Trying to think if we even had some winners. I don't think we had any winners, but we had some people sitting on those sidelines who been to the big game, and so the reaction from the crowd, and uh, it even did something for me because I was asked to play, although I didn't play school ball, but I had a hand in that, and that made me feel good because I think out of those 20 to 25 players, maybe 17 or 18 of them were club members that came through the program. And so it was always a goal of mine to make sure, because we talking community. I wanted to make sure I was giving those basketball players the opportunity to come in and compete every day because I felt like it was doing the coach a favor, whether it was from the aspect of being able to handle all the chatter, while playing was going on, the attitudes, the feelings, the emotions behind it, because basketball is a special sport, and you're going against that person across from you, or you're going against that team, even though y'all play on the same team for the school, and so it was just one of those things where whatever I could do to help equip, that's what I did. And I even got out there and played with them a whole lot, and they'll tell you I didn't play any games with them. And so, you know, and like one of the guys that asked me to, play, they said, now, Mr. Quayle, it wouldn't be right if you didn't play. And you played a role in all of our lives from the aspect of, sports. And so I was like, you know what? And I jumped off the lawnmower and I grabbed my shoes and I went and played. I played a little bit. Uh, I didn't play a lot because it's not about me. It's about everybody else in that gym. And so uh, I hope it's something that's continually done because it could really be a big thing. The community loved it. Not one negative thing said about it. And I think the biggest thing that I took from it was the chance that the school took in having it, and the community, the players, and everyone who was a part of it, showing, hey, we can do this. This is fun. We know how to act, and let's continue it. Let's continue. That was special. That was a big moment in 2024. A lot of those guys that took part in that event learned is that you hear about what the Justin Dukes did. You hear about what the Chris Gambles and the Rashad Stricklands, the Chris Foots. You hear about what they did, but for those younger kids that heard about all this stuff, they was able to see, they was, oh well, maybe he could do that. Maybe he was everything that everybody said that he was because a few of those guys got to play against a couple of people who went to the NBA and had great NBA careers. And so, it's just that thing. It was so much positivity for our young children. And they were tuned into it. And it was almost like an all-star game because they had their phones out too, and, recording. And so it's the little bitty things that you can take from it. And it gave the biggest effect. I'll use a saying that I often look in the mirror and say to myself, which is, great hands never have to be held. And what that means to me is, regardless of everything that's going on, any mishaps, anything, that can take place, if you can go and be that superhero, you just go and do it. You don't ask no questions. You find the need, you make it happen, and you just go and do it. A lot of times we have people who have all the qualifications. We have people who have everything, that they need to change the life of somebody else's and make it better. And, we just sit on it. And so that's something that I make sure daily when I look in the mirror. It's kind of like, okay, what does today hold? And let's go do it. And so, if I got myself and the 8 others that work alongside me, if I have them under that same stanza, you know, what could we go out here and accomplish? Because, two minds are greater than one, especially when you all have the same goal. Like, we have so many kids that go to the club and they are active within the school, and it's not sports related.
Yeah.
And so, and we show up to their events, and
Yeah.
we just make sure that on some level you have some support, whether it's theater, basketball game, football game,
Yeah. Whatever
or
your thing is.
right. And they make sure they come in and they let us know, oh, Mr. Quayle, we got band concert Tuesday night. If I'm not there, one of us shows up.
Yeah.
And it just go to show the devotedness that my work team has, because we aren't on the clock when we do those kind of things. And so I guess that's what makes it so special for their kid to see one of us is there supporting. Because a parent might not be there, and it's not because they're just a terrible parent, but people have to work nowadays. Some
Yeah.
people work second shift, some people work third shift, and you just can't make every single thing. So that's one of our main goals is for our kids to never feel that there's lack of support and that they understand why their parent can't make it if they're a second shift or third shift worker. You know, it's those things that just keep us going.